The median American under 35, if they hold a retirement account at all, has about $19,000 in it. That's the Federal Reserve's number from its survey of consumer finances. Hold on to it, we are going to treat it like a spec, because Coast Fire really is a spec. One input, one formula, and a clean pass or fail. So here is the plan. We take that 19,000, run the compound math on it and see exactly where it lands by the time we are 65. Then we walk through the 3 inputs that change the answer. So we know which one to move first and what each one costs. And there is one more thing. The Coast Fire formula, the way almost every calculator shows it, leaves out a mandatory income stream every working American is already enrolled in. Adding it back changes the number we need by around $80,000. We will add it back at the very end and it changes the result. For now, just solve the question. Here is a frame I'm using. I've been investing for 12 years and I've spent 6 of them working as a developer inside the financial world. So this is just how I read the retirement plan, not as a motivational exercise, but as a system. Inputs, a formula, and the threshold, it either clears or it doesn't. I'm João and we are going to debug this one together. 3 things, then the result of the spec check. The 3 levers and the price tag on each, and the real path forward for someone sitting at that median today, including a version of me from years ago. Let's run it. Coast Fire is the point where the money we have already invested, left completely alone, compounds into our full retirement number by the time we retire, with no further contributions. Not another dollar. The formula is just future value run backward, our retirement target divided by 1 plus the real return, raised to the number of years left. So we need a target. The standard one is 25 times our annual expenses. That comes from the 4% rule, first calculated by the financial planner William Bengen in a 1994 paper, then confirmed few years later by the Trinity study, which found the stock-heavy portfolio survived 30 years about 98% of the time. 25 times expenses drawn down at 4% a year. What's 25 times in real dollars? The average household age 65 and older spends about $61,000 a year according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. 25 times that is right around $1.5 million. That's our target. Now that $87,000 figure people love to quote, the median for Americans who own a retirement account, blends in people already near retirement. For households under 35 still building, the real median is about $19,000. So that's our input. $19,000 growing at 7% a year after inflation, the optimistic end of the historical stock market range, for 30 years from 35 to 65. That compounds to about $144,000 against the $1.5 million target, that's under 10%. The median young saver with an account is less than a tenth of the way to Coast Fire. The spec fails. So let's stop diagnosing and start engineering. There are exactly 3 inputs in that formula, 3 levers, each one moves the result by a different amount and each one has a cost. We are going to pick them up one at a time and put a number on each. The age we start, same $1.5 million target, same 7%. At 25, we had need about $100,000 invested to coast the rest of the way. At 35, $197,000. At 45, $388,000. A builder reads this as a constraint. Every 10 years we wait roughly doubles the pile we need for the exact same finish line. That's compounding working for us early and against us late. And this is the one lever we can't pull backward. Knowing what the past cost isn't actionable, but it's exactly why the other 2 matter more from 35 forward. The return we assume, most Coast Fire content picks 7% and moves on. Look at what that choice hides. At 7% real, the number we need at 35 is $197,000. Drop to 4% real, the conservative figure the writer behind the blog of Dollars and Data recommends for caution, and the same target over the same timeline now needs 462,000, more than double from one assumption alone. And this isn't academic. Look at the decade from 2000 to 2009. The S&P 500 dividends reinvested returned negative 0.95% a year, negative 3.4% after inflation. A full lost decade. Someone with their coast fire number in 1999 stopped contributing and coasted into a lighter job would have watched their portfolio go essentially nowhere for 10 years, with no new money going in to buy the dip. That sequence of returns risk, and it lives nowhere in the formula. So in this video we use a range, not a single number. Now we know why. 2 levers down. Start age, we can change it. Return, we can control it. Which leaves one lever we can actually move today, our savings rate. And before we close, we still owe the open loop, that missing income stream. It's next. The one we own, the coast fire number at 35. At 7% is 197,000. The median young balance is 19, so the naive gap is about $178,000. That's real money, but against a 2026 401k limit of 24,500 a year, it's a number we can actually ship at over a decade. That's the shape of the work, but now we pay off the loop. The missing input is Social Security. Every wage earner is already enrolled in it. It's a mandatory, government-run partially coast fire, and the standard formula ignores it completely. The average retired worker collects about $24,852 a year as of January of 2026. Subtract that from our $61,000 spending and the part we have to self-fund drops, our final target falls from $1.5 million to about $940,000, a 41% cut. Rerun Coast Fire at 35 on that number and it's 120,000, not 197. Suddenly the gap isn't 178,000, it's about 100,000. Social Security cuts it by more than a third. The Spec still fails, but by a lot less. There is the open loop resolved. The missing input was Social Security, the Coast Fire program we are already paying into. With it, the median young saver is about 100,000 behind, not 178. Here is the pet. 3 moves, no pep talk. 1. Recalculate the real final number by subtracting expected Social Security from projected retirement spending before multiplying by 25. 2. Find the adjusted coast fire number for our own age and timeline with the compound interest calculator at João Freire Finance. I built it for exactly this. 3. Close whatever gap is left with the only lever available, our savings rate. 3 caveats set plainly. Social Security's futures payment carry real solvency risk. The 2025 Social Security Trustees Report projects the main trust fund could be depleted around 2033, after which incoming taxes would still cover about 77% of scheduled benefits absent any fix. Treat it as a bonus floor, not a load-bearing beam. The 7 to 4% return range applies to the adjusted target too. And coasting doesn't mean stopping work, it means stopping contributions. The paycheck still covers rent and groceries until we actually retire. 4 spec errors this exposed. 1. Using 7% as a fixed number instead of a range. It can more than double the requirement. 2. Running the target without Social Security subtracted. That overstates the coast fire number by up to 41% for median earners. 3. Hearing coast fire as stop working. It only ever means stop contributing. 4. using 25 times expenses when the retirement might last 40 or 50 years. Over that long, the historical safe withdrawal rate drops toward 3.5%, which means about 28.5 times expenses, not 25. Build on that error and the spec is underfunded before compounding even starts. None of these are failures of character, they are just corrections to the math. So the naive check says under 10% of target. Adding social security cuts the gap by more than a third, and savings rate is the only lever we can pull today. One action: if we do nothing else, calculate the adjusted cost fire number. Expected social security subtracted from spending times 25 divided by 1.07 to the power of the years left. The compound interest calculator at João Freire Finance runs it in a few seconds. I started with almost nothing at 22 and got here by treating every one of this number as something I could move, so I know this gap is closable. And once the gap is closed, a new question opens. What order do we actually draw the money down in so it lasts as long as we do? That's the next spec we will run together.